PCC.
So, PCC sends apologies. That's fine. Declarations of interest.
I'd like to declare an interest on the general intent to read the outside organisation.
I understand this is a non-pecuniary interest. So, I'll hand over to Rhea.
Agenda item 3 is appointment of the chair, and can I please ask for nomination for the chair of the authority?
Can I propose Councillor Les Brown, please?
Can I second that, please?
Agreed?
Thank you, colleagues. It's a great privilege to have the opportunity to, chair this, well-achieving authority. We represent an area of considerable poverty and hardship, and yet we show that great quality public services can be achieved if you have great people, in charge of delivering those services. And for that, we are very grateful. So I'd like to nominate under item 4 the vice chairs. Those would be Councillors Roberts and Kenny. Can I ask for a seconder?
Can I second that, please?
Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. So 5 is minutes of the previous meeting. These are pages 7 to 12. If there are any amendments of a factual nature, if not, can we accept? We've got some typographical errors, haven't we?
Yeah, due to the system that issues this agenda, there was some inaccuracies within the minutes. If I could just take members to page 7, item 2 of those minutes. It's an incorrect date. The date should read 23rd of February 2023 instead of the 31st of January. The same applies to item 3 on the minute, which said the 31st of January. The appointments committee was held on the 22nd of March 2023. And the last inaccuracy is on item 5, which is the first line, which is a reference to the British Firefighter Challenge, which should say Merseyside Fire Rescue Service and not Liverpool.
So these minutes with those amendments are submitted for approval. Would you agree to that approval? Be approved? Thank you. So item 6 is the membership of the authority. Rhea, would you like to talk us through that?
Thank you, Chair. Paragraph 3 of this report takes you through the changes to the membership of the authority through decisions taken by the district councils or as a result of local elections of May this year. Paragraph 4 details the current membership of the authority, as well as the fiscal proportionality details in paragraph 5. Therefore, it's recommended that members note the membership of the authority, the contents of the report, as well as the continued appointment of the PCC, Merseyside Fire and Rescue Authority, who has already appointed on the previous year.
So there are members who have left the authority who we will thank in the normal way. Those who have been on for some considerable time, we will probably make a presentation to. We normally do that at a future date. This is reporting the nominations from our constituent authorities. We also have in the Constitution that the PCC is formally a member that proposes to continue. So the recommendation is set out on page 13. Is that agreed? Thank you. So item 7, structure of the authority. These are pages 17 to 26. Yeah.
The political balance of the authority is detailed within paragraph 3. You will note from the membership with 13 Labour, 2 Liberal Democrats, 1 Conservative, 1 Green Party and 1 Liverpool Community Independent Group. The largest main opposition party is Liberal Democrats, and I can confirm that the opposition spokesperson is Councillor Thompson. There's also a legal requirement for the authority to confirm its structure. This is detailed on pages 18 and 19. So the existing structure has got no proposed changes to the current committees. They are being proposed for 23 and 24. And the balance of the seats is also detailed within paragraphs 9.2 and 9.3. Members are asked, in accordance with the recommendations, to determine which committees they wish to establish, determining the number of voting members to be appointed to each committee, number of seats on each committee, determining an alternate that from the relevant political group already appointed to the authority can attend a committee in their absence, confirming which members are appointed to which committees and the roles attracting any special responsibility allowance, as well as lead member roles, and confirming that members will inform Democratic Services prior to starting any meeting of any alternates to exist. Happy to take any questions.
Congratulations, Councillor Thompson, on that role. I've got a blank list of lead members, so we'll deal with that. I haven't got the names to put forward yet, but I want to take some consultation on that. But otherwise, the spaces are there, the template is out to be completed. I've handed in our list. I imagine that the list will also be completed by the other groups, so that we will populate that, and that list will be circulated, if not for minutes of this meeting, in advance of that. Any other vacancies will be filled casually as we go along. So, item 7, this is to agree the recommendations as set out on page 17 of the agenda. Those are A to G, with the exception of F is to be advised, still to be advised. Is that agreed? Thank you. So, item 8 is meeting dates. I'm not sure there's much to speak into this. The meeting dates are set out, as always. Sometimes they need to be amended slightly. A little card passed around, laminated, for members with the dates and membership committees and so forth. Once all that information is collated, that will be sent round. So under item 8, which is meeting dates, the recommendations are set out on page 27. Is that agreed, colleagues? Thank you. So we move on, I can turn the page. Item 9, questions on the discharge of functions.
Just to say, there's a legal requirement to nominate members from each council district, to answer each question from each relevant council, and we ask for nominations from each area. 9 positions remaining down.
Have you got the list? It's the same as last time, actually. So it will be Sefton, me, Wirral, Councillor Kenny, Liverpool, Councillor Roberts, Knowsley, Councillor Finneran, and where am I up to? Which one am I left on? So St Helens is that's right. Councillor London, that's right. You were hiding behind Councillor Finneran.
I'm not that
I couldn't see you. So those are exactly the same names as last time. Is that agreed? Appointment of members on outside bodies. I don't think there's much to report here again. It's in the meat of the report, mainly talking about the LGA and the attendance of those meetings. The LGA also has a route to appoint members, balancing members onto the Fire Commission. And what we're saying is that we've always said this from Merseyside. It's better, London is always represented. It's better that Merseyside is represented. And if you come up with any proper conferences, training events, please feed those in. And generally speaking, happy to support those on the grounds that we need to be seen to be taking part, and we also need to be having our, involvement in the life of the UK Fire Service, which we are the leading authority. So, on item 10, page 37 to 42, the recommendations are set out on page 37. Is that agreed? Agreed. Thank you. So, 11. approve conferences, outside meetings. Again, this is page 43 and 44. The recommendations are set out on page 43, and it's almost the same as the previous item, really. There is a list of approved conferences. Anything else that we need to attend can be approved. It is obviously budgetary considerations have to be taken into account, but broadly speaking, since the COVID, we don't attend a lot of conferences. We've stopped going, and actually they've stopped being organised because people weren't going. But if there's something relevant, something we really need to be seen to be attending, then we can do that. So item 11, recommendation on page 43, is that agreed? Now the next one, item 12, pages 45 to 48, is a contingency item, really. We haven't taken up this option for a long time. But as we move towards a general election, and it's that pathway really to a new government, it may well be in the current climate, if it's next year, whatever, that we need to be lobbying for the position of the Merseyside Fire Authority and the position of the British Fire Service. So it's recommended that we retain this facility to be able to do if possible. So the recommendations are set out on page 45. Is that agreed? Thank you. Okay. Item 10. This is the backward-looking report. Sorry, 13. Item 10. It's item 13, that's a mission. Item 13. This is the backward-looking report, statutory report, and it will be published on the website and I don't know wherever else you see it as well. Are there any amendments of a factual nature to that anyone's aware of? Questions? Is that otherwise the recommendation as set out on page 49 agreed? Thank you. So item 14 is the forward-looking scheme. The operating was agreed at the budget. We discussed this, previous authority discussed this. It was agreed at the budget, and the implications of that are set out on pages 55. Recommendations A to F. It's fairly straightforward there. Are there any questions? If not, would that be agreed? Thank you very much. So, item 15 is the, sorry, Laurie, that's all right.
Just on item, I just wanted to add my agreement with transport. I think we just agreed.
Yes, that is within that report. It's not really pertinent to the scheme of members' allowances, but it is good practice to have that second person, and it's one of the things that we just are looking at. It's been a little bit of business that's been left over from the last year really, that we need to sort out. Okay, thank you. 15, Constitution. Ria?
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. In terms of the Constitution, everyone is aware that other than the typographical within part 1 and 2, within the scheme of delegation, it is proposed to increase the value of contracts that can be awarded under the delegation powers from £250,000 to £300,000. This is to really reflect it's been at £250,000 for quite some time and the impact of inflation. There are no substantial changes in terms of the financial regulations, but the contract standing orders have also increased within their 3 stages of what are the requirements where two quotes are needed, and that is to increase it from £10,000 to £12,000. There are no other significant changes to bring to your attention other than those already detailed in the paragraphs.
We temporarily increased the threshold for contract agreement during the COVID period, then it went back to 250,000. The proposal is just to keep, I mean, we've had 10% inflation, so just to keep it, at a relatively straightforward amount, from the Chief Officer's delegation. So, the recommendations are set out on page 67, A to C. Would they be agreed? Thank you. So, on to item 16, pages 269, 278. Chief.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. The purpose of this report is to present to the authority a summary of the key findings for the staff engagement survey for 2022 and the proposed action plan for continued improvement and the recommendations. It's recommended that members note the contents of the plan in the report and members consider and approve the actions for the continued improvement within the said report as detailed on page 275 and an infographic which captures the outcomes which is contained within the paper on page 277. I'll just draw a couple of things to members' attention in the first instance and just draw out on page 271 the headline messages on the basis of the engagement survey which has been provided independently by People Insight and the information that they present back to us says strong employee engagement score, we remain in the top quartile position. All themes scoring higher than the Fire and Rescue Service external benchmark. No question has scored lower than that benchmark in any areas. Good confidence from staff in the future of Merseyside Fire and Rescue Authority. Staff feel recognise the values as well as feeling and finding the appraisal process useful. Strong alignment to the values, understanding of the direction and the personal connection to the said values and the leadership message, and good communication channels and opportunities between leaders and staff being kind of created. And that just is the headlines in relation to the staff engagement responses. And then the quote on page 270 from Costa, who worked for People Insight in relation to the results and given the independency of his comments, I think they are pertinent to bring them to members' attention, which he said, an incredible outcome in light of the national industrial climate and the cost of living challenges faced by employees. So in effect, we've maintained our position in the highest quartile of staff engagement levels at a position of 86% is the overall engagement level. And we took members back to 2014 when we first started on this journey of staff engagement with surveying our staff in relation to how engaged they felt. Back in 2014, that was at 55%, probably at that point in the lower quartile. So, authority should be kind of content that progress has been maintained and continued and moved from the lowest quartile to the highest quartile over that period and maintaining our position in respect of that. It goes on to talk about some of the specifics, some of the kind of commentary. What you'll note on page 275, the action plan, which has been put in place to further improve the level of engagement that we are having in the service. And we will continue to work through that and embed that in our practice and bring that back to the authority as part of our updates around progress, particularly focusing on culture. And then the final infographic I would draw to members' attention just captures the headline outcomes from the staff engagement survey that's contained on page 277, which reinforces that high level engagement, 86% for 2023. 95% levels of staff understand how Merseyside Fire and Rescue Service achieved its purpose. 96% care about the future of Merseyside Fire and Rescue Service, and 87% staff proud to work for Merseyside Fire and Rescue Service. So again, it's reflective of those level of responses, but contained within that infographic are some of the areas that we think would be important in maintaining and achieving and sustaining that level of engagement over a period, which I won't go into specifically unless any member wants me to. But the actual report itself asks members to note the contents of the findings and approve the action plan for continued improvement. Thank you, Chair. Happy to take your questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Can I just say, as far as the action plan is concerned, I think it would be helpful when we've got the outcomes, we could have a timeline so we can check the recommendations that we have down.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're not working.
Thanks, Chair. Obviously, we welcome the report from Insight as well. It's always good to see the positive responses that we get every other year. I think what's disappointing this time is the low response that we've received. I think there's probably reasons behind that, which we know I think it's being highlighted within the report. But I think with the next report on staff survey, that will be till 2 years' time, so 2025. I think we need to look at different ways in which we can try and encourage all our staff to engage with this. So what I'd like to see is that the action plan itself to be there to the scrutiny committee, so that we can have a look at the details of what we can do, how we can do it, and the timeline that we should be agreeing this to. Because I think it's important that we, obviously as the authority, we take ownership of this, because we've always been very keen on staff engagement and recognise the value of the work we do, and also their comments to improve the authority and the service as we go forward. So I think if we had the action plan go into the scrutiny committee, we can delve in a bit deeper to actually what's beyond the some of the reasons why people didn't engage. And as it suggests in the report, to look at some incentive or reward and how we can do that and what does it look like and what options will be available to us going forward. And the other thing is about having additional surveys in between. And again, how would that look? What type of questions would we ask? And I think if we do a piece of work on that, within the authority, obviously it will be better placed when we do the interim report, and also better placed when we do the full staff survey in 2025.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor. We're more than happy to take that to scrutiny and with the addition of the timescales that we will endeavour to meet to kind of deliver against those actions. And just to give you some reassurance, we are talking about the potential to deploy pulse surveys dependent on particular thematic areas within the service, and just get a sense whether being function departments or a particular topic. But we are taking a look at that at this moment in time, particularly we don't want to survey staff to death, because at the point in time when you come to return the survey responses, they have lost the appetite to do that. So I think there's a real balance to be struck by that, but taking that back through to the members and through to scrutiny, I think is a good idea.
Thank you. I think we have looked at the staff survey before. It's reporting to the authority. I think we did discuss and captured at the time that when we were waiting for the response results, it could have been the case, because we're coming out of COVID, the years of austerity, rising inflation, a great sense of, what is happening unknown. It could have been that the results of the staff survey had turned and were indicating a position of dissatisfaction, which it didn't. So the obvious issue is, well, why didn't more people contribute to it? And that is something for us to look at ways that we could incentivise people to do that. I think we need our culture, our staff, our organisation are the biggest thing we've got going. This is what we are, is our staff. And if this is a moment, snapshot in time of the mood set of our staff, encouraging more people to give that sort of view, to take that snapshot, is something that we should try and do. Put some work into how we can improve staff engagement. We've got good outcomes. We need to have more input into that, and we can put some work into it.
Yeah, absolutely, Chair. What I would say in kind of context, if you were to speak to Costa from people inside, they would say that they're committed across both public and private sector to the levels of response. It's not just a Merseyside fire mission thing, notwithstanding kind of the comment that Councillor Barrett made, but that's the environment in which we are all operating in, cost of living crisis, inflation levels increasing and so on and so forth. So the levels of engagement and returns to surveys have been quite diminished over the same period, but it's certainly something we will look to just kind of scrutinise and improve for the next survey for sure.
Yeah, we gave a commitment to our staff that we would do this regularly, and we would track that. And some blue light organisations have found, problems with the internal culture. And this is one of the tools that helps us to understand in depth what our culture is. And this is a challenge, as I said before, for the fire service UK-wide to work on the whole culture of the service, for us to work on that, for us to be aware of what is happening in the wider sector. So are there any other points or observations on that? If not, can we, sorry, yes, please,
Just for future, some of the images and
Oh, yes.
photographs, we just been reading, far too small, unless they're moving.
it's the cut and paste, I think, from previous, so the main report. The main report will be circulated, and it was, to the last authority. But yes,
We can like make
Just generally anything,
It's-
just so small.
that's right, it's the readability of paperwork, yeah. Okay, so is there any other questions on that? If not, could I point to page 269 of the agenda and the recommendations, A and B, are they agreed? Thank you very much. So, could I give an advert for the station visits which are coming up? Other than that, the next meeting of the authority, I think, that is, the committee meetings,
full authority.
full authority, the 12th of October. Thank you very much. I close the meeting.